Hi, my name is Grace Clough. This poem is The Lanyard by Billy Collins, who was Poet Laureate of the United States from 2001 to 2003. I chose this poem because it's very funny and very sweet, and I think you'll all like it. The other day, as I was ricocheting slowly off the blue walls of this room, bouncing from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. No cookie nibbled by a French novelist could send one more suddenly into the past. A past where I sat at a workbench, at a camp by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift for my mother. I had never seen anyone use a lanyard, or wear one if that's what you did with them. But that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand, again and again, until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted teaspoons of medicine to my lips, set cold face cloths on my forehead, then let me out into the airy light, and taught me how to walk and swim, and I, in turn, presented her with a lanyard. Here are thousands of meals, she said, and here is clothing and a good education. And here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is a breathing body and a beating heart, strong legs, bones, and teeth, and 2 clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is the lanyard I made at camp. And here, I wish to say to her now, is a smaller gift, not the archaic truth that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the 2-toned lanyard from my hands, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even.
This is called Magic Words, and it's an Eskimo poem translated by Edward Field, who translated a number of poems of the Inuit people. Magic words. In the very earliest time, when both people and animals lived on Earth, a person could become an animal if he wanted to, and an animal could become a human being. Sometimes they were people, and sometimes animals, and there was no difference. All spoke the same language. That was the time when words were like magic. The human mind had mysterious powers. A word spoken by chance might have strange consequences. It would suddenly come alive, and what people wanted to happen could happen. All you had to do was say it. Nobody could explain this. That's the way it was.
I'm not sure this is complete, but I wrote this with Bob in mind. Memory. Do not mourn for dust when spirit is present. Can dust react to loving embrace? Where is the heart in dust? Let mourning go. Do not think what was. Do not think what might have been. Those who have returned from that place say that memory is a playground without children. But I don't think that's a note I cared to leave on. I love the line about how we're supposed to be left, I can't remember the exact word, disoriented. So with the wonderful variety we've had, I'm going to try and leave us a little bit disoriented. I write mostly 3 and 5 lines. This is about the longest thing I ever wrote. Habit. In college, my friends and I wrote poems. We practiced terse, casual greetings. I've got a poem for you. Good, I've got one for you. Comments were critical, professional. The first stanza with the moonlight works, but the swimming through the mackerel sky will have to go. Midnight till dawn was writing time. I saw myself sculpting poems, chipping away excesses in hopes of revealing the figure of David. But more often than not, I attacked my poems like a Vermonter chainsawing bears from logs. Publishing poems was glory and money. Without telling me, my wife submitted one of my poems that won me $30. I bought new waders and caught a pair of 9-pound weakfish on an October night at Corson's Inlet. I still have that copy of Mothering magazine. Middle years meant more family, less poems, and the habit of trashing the ones I wrote. None of this Emily Dickinson, they'll find these poems when I'm dead bullshit. No, this was real Anglo-Saxon Beowulf to Hrothgar. Suck it up, dude. Shit happens. Get over it. Permanent trashing. My poems disappeared like tales from humans. Occasionally, there were survivors that I shared with friends who I knew cared more for the writer than for the written. As my sons grew older, sometimes I showed them a "I used to smoke cigarettes and spit" poem. Mostly they would laugh, and then I'd remember laughing at my father when he told stories about laughing at his father. I still write, and the poems still go in the trash. I now write for the questions and the answers and the questions. Sometimes there is insight, and sometimes there is healing. Sometimes there is a joke only I feel is funny. But even so, maybe it's worth the risk to shock a reader one more time like a thunderous, odoriferous, room-clearing lout, or paint a Groucho mustache on the last stanza of Dawn, or to unsuccessfully present the unpresentable one more time. Maybe it's worth the risk to remember that only mercy keeps us from the trash.